Today's COVID update is brought to you by Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price but stay for the service.
And we're back.
And if you're joining us right now, we are just getting our third conversation started, and we are keeping things in digital realm. And we are now talking with the Public Utilities Commission, and they are going to be sharing some, shedding some light, on the online services that they are now offering. And joining us for this conversation, we have Mark Usher, who is an engineering officer with the electricity sector from the Public Utilities Commission. Good morning, Mark.
Sir Gavin and morning, Miss Marlene.
Yeah.
All right, how are you this morning?
I am very good. I'm up.
Yep.
Thanks for that. I give thanks for that. I hope everything goes well in Barbados. Love that place.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So let's talk a bit about one of the things that the online services that's now being offered, and this is specifically for getting your electrical license?
Okay, yes, Marlene.
Yeah.
So what happened, as we all know, with the COVID and all the restrictions and everything, and the difficulty that everyone who have a job, whether you're employed or you're self-employed, the difficulty that you have to get your work done, it's difficult. So the PUC have been looking at ways to make it easier. In the electricity sector, we have two functions. One, we look at rates and tariff as it relates to the electrical energy that we all have to pay for, aka your light bill. And we also look at the consumption aspect of electrical energy. The Electricity Act provides for the PUC to be able to look at issues and concerns to make sure that the general public is always protected and they can use the energy properly and safely. As you know, and pun intended here, electrical energy can be very shocking. Right? And as such, you have to, there's a huge amount of safety rules and regulations that has been formulated for those of us who have to use electrical energy. One of the most important part of that safety package is the personnel who design, builds, and maintain electrical system. And an electrical system is simple. If you have a switch and you turn it on, that is an electrical system. That is a light. It has a switch, which is a control, a light, which is we call a load, and the energy, the electrical energy, comes from your main panel and turn on that light. Mm-hmm. So it is important that the personnel, the practitioners, who maintain and install and design these systems are very, very highly scrutinized and very, 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 very highly looked at. Yeah. These practitioners we call wiremen. All right. So now the wiremen have processes that it does with the PUC on a daily basis. One, it submits electrical submissions for approval. Now, Marlene, when you're ready to build the next big house, your architect will tell you, well, when I don't draw the design for the big house, Marlene, you still have to go and do the electrical design. Mm-hmm. And your architect would be correct, because that is a critical part of the process that you need before you can move and start construct that pretty house where you want to build, right? Mm-hmm. So electrical wiremen have to submit to the PUC for their designs, right? Now, how that have been done is it is a walk-in or a mail-in process, but it is a physical copy that is being sent to the PUC. So now, what we're saying is wiremen will be able to send their designs via email. Now, this brings a whole lot of advantages in many respects. The first main advantage is it reduces the time that the wireman have to physically travel, if that is the case.
Yeah.
One, right?
Yeah, because you only have one office, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Sadly, the PUC is centralized. And I will get into that part of it in a little bit more in the presentation. So now with this online facility, we are moving towards the decentralization of the PUC services that it provides to the general public, right? So then, it also saves the wireman money, because now the wireman don't have to print that design, and let's say he prints the design and the design have some issues that the PUC have to send back for correction. Then he have to reprint. That's a cost, right? So he saves some money there, and hopefully that savings go to the client, right? And then the time that the design can be approved. So now we have put in place, and you're looking, for example, at a cover sheet there, for a typical design, an example of a design, we have put in place facility where if you look on the right side, my right side, you see my little signature, my famous signature. Imagine you have to sign your name 500 times a day. Would you like to do that job? Yeah, and then there's the PUC logo there. So now it cuts the delivery time, the turnaround time for them to get back a design. The next thing that we're saying is the wireman have to come in and
let me just ask there. So when you talk about cut down time, that's a key factor, because there's travel involved, because we can't just think about Belize City. You know, if you're coming from PG, there's travel time involved. The expense. The expense. What is the time that you're cutting down beyond travel for even the processing that would happen internally? All right. Based on our internal delivery standards, we're to return a design, whether approved or returned for correction. We're to do that within 4 working days. Now, I will always be proud to say that since I've been at the PUC and held and had the responsibility for this area, I've been delivering within 24 to 36 hours. That is a day to a day and a half. So now, in this digital world, in this method that we're using, the PUC will be able to keep that up. We'll be able to. I'm saying that we can deliver within 2 days. Okay. You know, and quite possibly a day to 36 hours, based on an email come in. It comes to me. I open it on my big screen, and now I have the facility that I can approve it, sign it, and stamp it online with all those magical electronic devices that now exist. And with the press of a button, I'm sending it back to that wireman, back to the client. And if it is one that has to be connected to BL, then it goes directly to a BL email, and it can be processed. So we're looking at probably reducing the time by at least 24 to 36 hours on an average. And you jumped ahead there and talked about the other service that you can submit online, which is the request that will have to be forwarded to BEL. Correct. So now a second thing that the wiremen have to do is, when it is your project. Now, Marlene don't get the contractor, gone through the process, get her stuff licensed, and now the contractor is building the house and it's almost ready to be connected, right? So now that wireman who has been doing the installation for your house, that wireman has the responsibility to submit a certificate of no object. Let me get the correct name. It's an electrical installation form, and it's basically a fit for turn on certificate. We call it a fit for turn on. Yeah. Which is a certificate that BEL requires. Normally, BEL will not process your submission if they don't see that certificate. And see, for the process of safety to work, let me say this loud and clear. BEL and the PUC have to be working hand in hand. And I must say that 99% of the time, that is what is happening. Because the PUC is responsible to make sure that your wireman does the correct job, use the correct materials, and that sort of stuff. Yeah. So when the PUC stamp and sign that certificate, it's the PUC saying that we have no objection to you proceeding, you the homeowner proceeding with your connection to BEL. And then BEL, in receiving that certificate, BEL feels comfortable to say, well, you know what? The PUC is saying that we can move, so let us move. Yeah. So that's the other thing that now
the wireman can submit that certificate, fill out that certificate, and take a PDF, make a picture or a PDF copy,
Yeah.
email it to the PUC
Yeah.
at submissions@puc.bz, and we look at it. If it's a submission that requires inspection, we do the inspection, and that is returned approved, or if there's any issues with correction, then it is returned accordingly.
Then I was going to ask if there's any mechanism built into these services for tracking. In other words, will I know the status of where my application is, whether it's been forwarded to BIA, whether it's still waiting for approval?
Lovely question, and my IT engineer Errol will love the answer that I'm about to give. One of the things that we are working on at the PUC is we are coming up with and Errol is the lead on this. He's designing and putting together a super e-platform. Our e-platform now will allow us to because when you start receive and send on the e-platform, you have sign a date and time stamp automatically. Currently, we have been using manual processes, and manual processes makes it harder for you to do tracking, for example. So I am thinking that based on Errol feedback, we're looking at probably by June, the second quarter this year, we will be able to have that fully up and running. But currently, the tracking is basically manual. You would call, for example, when you submit to the PUC, the wireman is immediately given a receipt just to say that it was delivered to PUC.
Yes.
And then you're told that within 4 working days, you will get your response. Like I said, I have been delivering within 24 to 48 hours, which is a maximum of 2 working days. And so then the wireman would call or just come in automatically. And in many instances, they come in, the item is ready. If the client wants to be involved, the client can also call. And once he or she references the wireman who made the submission on their behalf, then it can easily be tracked. But it is not it's more manual than anything else. But once we start move towards the online platform, and this temporary emailing process increases the tracking capabilities that we have in-house now for the PUC.
And what about ensuring that you're getting information from legitimate wiremen? I know that there are many people who understand the trade, but understanding and practicing is completely different from being licensed.
Very important question. I cannot underscore this critical point first and foremost. Because of the deadly and explosive and dangerous nature of electrical energy, I will say to the nation over and over again, there is no such thing as a cheap wireman. You know, I mean, oftentimes homeowners or new homeowners or people or those who want the services of a contractor, a general contractor, would acquire that service, and then sometimes the contractor is guilty of not getting a PUC certified wireman to do the electrical component of that work. That is dangerous. It is dangerous in all respects. Why? Because when you get somebody who the PUC have not certified, you have no idea, we have no idea what they know, what they are capable of doing. And as you know, with hands-on work, a lot of us come up and learn via an official apprenticeship program, or you see your father, you see your brother, your uncle do it, and they say, well, just turn the wire there, just screw that there, but you don't know the why. And in electrical energy, you need to know why you do something.
Yes.
It's not just the how.
Yeah.
So it's important. So then what happened? The PUC by law, the law first of all say that nobody else in the nation of Belize can carry out any design and installation and maintenance of electrical components and systems if they don't have a PUC issued license. That's the first and foremost thing. Yeah. So now the law goes further and say that you have to license, you have to renew every year. And that is important because it keeps the wireman on his toes, his or her toes, because we do have female wirewomen also, right? Which is
So
great.
we have to call it wire
love
person now.
right, we have to change the word to wire person.
course.
Right?
Wire folk, as
Yeah.
they
Yes,
say.
wire folk, right, right. So that's the second thing. So now you the general public, you're out there and you want to get something done. It is on you. It is on you to make sure that you get and find a wireman who is licensed and is correct. My suggestion, if you don't mind, quickly putting up the slide that shows my electrical license quickly there. I think it's the next one.
They'll get it, don't worry. So
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So there we go. Why I asked for you to put up that slide is
Send
because
number.
the most important thing when you check that license, you look at the reverse side. That is the little picture on the right side, and note license expire on birthday 2021. So I'm a September born. So the 23rd of September this year, my license will expire. So when you get the services of a licensed wireman, you need to check that license. Don't accept somebody saying, "Oh, I forget my license, I don't have it," or "Miss, you don't need that," or "Sir, you don't need that, you don't need that, I know where to do." No, don't do that. Why would you go and get $150,000 to build your nice home, and you're going to risk all that investment because the licensed wireman come to you and tell you the job will cost you $7,000, but the unlicensed person come and say, "Miss, come on, don't worry about it. I could do that for $3,000. Well, guess what? That $4,000 will save. You might need it to buy a medication when your house burned down, right? Because quite possibly you will be.
It's a very I don't dangerous, but also
Yes, it is.
And it requires a high level of skill in the different areas, and that also speaks to the different categories of wiremen that exist as well, right?
Correct. So the PUC issues 3 categories. The entry level we issue at the electrician. We call him an electrician, and so on the back of the card you see electrician, category electrician. And then the senior level we call this electrical technician, or just technician for short. And then the highest level of wireman license that we issue is the engineer. All right. And of course the level goes with what they are allowed to design, as well as what they are allowed to work on without supervision. For example, an engineer can design and build any size electrical system. You know, they can do a design for a second princess facility, a hotel, or that sort of stuff, and they can do that job. But an electrical technician can't design that size, but can work on a job like that. You know. Now, as you see there, we saw the need to come up with a fourth category that we call the apprentice wireman. And here's the reason. Here's a young man or young lady who fresh out of high school or fresh out of IT vet program, have done the level 1 and level 2 program, and now wants to enter. Or not even say that. Here's a young man or a young lady who have no electrical background at all, but they want to get into the field. And now, let's say at FT Williams or another company decide that they need some what we call casual labor. You know, you need some hands for do pulling of wires and those sort of stuff, drilling and all of that. So now, if you go and hire that young person and that person don't have a license, you will be in contravention of the law. So then the PUC is saying we will now start issue apprentice wireman license where there's no exam. You almost don't have to have any electrical or technical background. You just have to want to be in that industry, in that area of work. So what that does, that makes you be able to come in and look at the industry and work in it for a while and say, okay, this is something I want to do with my life. Then you have acquired, let's say, 6 months to a year worth of hands-on training and skill. Then you say, okay, no, let me go and apply for my next level license, and you move right up the ranks. So that is the follow.
I can imagine how it's very helpful, especially for people who do need the extra hands but don't, I mean, you know, if somebody's an electrician, they maybe don't want to be doing other aspects of the job. But let me ask a question from the public standpoint. Are there published lists of who all are licensed electricians right up to electrical engineers, so that I can do my due diligence to ensure that the person I'm hiring is actually licensed?
Yes. In the Electricity Act, it mandates that the PUC must publish the list every year, twice in the Gazette, officially. That's the official publication. So we do it twice a year. And the PUC website, www.puc.bz. That is where we keep a list. We keep the current list and we refresh it. Because we don't renew like everybody renew January, everybody renew June. We renew on your birthday.
All year round.
So it's a moving list. It's a moving list. So you can go on the PUC website and you can see that list. You can call the PUC at any one of our numbers, or even email us info@puc.bz. And we'll be able to give you that list or send you that list. What we won't do is to recommend a certain wireman, or you know, if you're looking for an engineer, we'll tell you, okay, there's 5 registered engineers. We can't tell you who to choose. We should not tell you who to choose. If you're looking for a technician and it's in Orange Walk, we can sort the list and we can tell you there's 51 technicians in Orange Walk. Here's the names, here's their contact number. See which one you want. We hope from the PUC end that all electricians, all wiremen who have a license live up to the requirements and conditions of their license, which require them to perform their duties according to standards. The standards that we use is called the National Electric Code. It's the one used in North America, in Canada, and this part of the world. We have PUC guidelines that they must follow, and BEL have some critical guidelines when it comes to interfacing. That you see that point where where the cable from BEL connects to your house, that is called your service entrance. So BEL have some strict guidelines where that is concerned, and those guidelines are critical because it makes life easier for everybody. Once it is done correctly, BEL can come, provide the service, and you are good to go from there.
All right. Well, we thank you for letting us know all the online services that are now available, and it clearly is going to make things a lot easier for people as they're trying to get their job done. And Mark, we appreciate you coming in to explain it all for us.
I really appreciate the time, and you will hear much more from the Public Utilities Commission as we ramp up our presence with the general public. We understand the nature of the work that we have to do, especially in the electricity sector, and as such, we will take up that responsibility. And let me just finally say that as part of the phase 2 of the decentralization process, it is our hope that the PUC will soon have office presence, if not at every district, at least in every zone. So if we say we have 4 zones, and we have currently the central zone, which is Belize City with an office, we're seeing where this year, quite possibly, we will have presence in the west, the south, and the north zones. Yeah. And that in itself will make our services much easier to access. I want to tell everybody, continue to remain safe, follow all the protocols. You know, it's a challenge, but you know what? We are Belizeans and we are 501ers, and we know how to rise up against all challenges, right?
That's right.
Absolutely.
All right. You stay safe too, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, bless.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and take our final break, and we'll be back.
This COVID update was brought to you by Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.